Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about how to set up Active Directory on Windows Server and how to create users and groups. So basically Active Directory to help to manage permissions and the users and the network resources. Okay. So basically Active Directory is a directory service that runs on Microsoft Windows Server. The main function of Active Directory to enable administration to manage the permissions and control the access to network resources. In Active Directory, data is stored as an objects, okay, in which it includes users, groups, applications, and devices and other objects that are categorized according to their name and attributes. So what are the Active Directory domain services? Okay. Active Directory domain services are a core component of Active Directory that provides the primary mechanism for automating user and determining which network the resources they can access. The AD also provides the additional features such as single sign-on and security certificates and LDAP and access rights management. Okay, in Active Directory, domain services, it will have like domain trees and forest and organization units and containers. These are the main four components of an Active Directory. Okay, a domain represents a group of objects such as users, groups, devices which share the same AD database. You can think of domain is a branch in a tree. Okay, a domain has some same data structure as standard domains and subdomains like your domain.com and sales.yourdomain.com. Okay. And trees are one and one or more domain group together in a logical hierarchy. Since domains in a tree are related to their also trust each other. Similarly, forecast it is a high level of organization with AD contain group of trees and the trees in a forest also can trust each other. So this will be shared and schema categorized and applications and domain configurations. Organization unit is an AU is used to organize the users, groups, computers, and other organizational units. And container is similar to OU. However, unlike an OU, it is not possible to link group policy objects to generate Active Directory containers. Okay, let me create the Windows server, then we will try to install Active Directory domain and we will create users and groups. So I have Azure account. So let me create not resource group. I have already resource group available. Virtual machines create. So to create virtual machine for Active Directory, so at least we need 4 CPU and 4 GB RAM. So this is my resource group name and you can give any name. I'm giving Windows ID, the name of that. So you can select any. So I'm going to select South Central. I think anything is fine. The domain name and the name, image name. I'm going to select Windows Server 22 2022 data center. Okay, and here the size you have to change. So we require. Let me go back and create one more time. So I have selected this. So our case at least we require 4 GB, 4 CPU and 4 GB RAM. Select and username, you can give any username. I'm giving Azure user and the password, whatever the password you are going to be set, you have to use the same password for admin. This username and password for like a admin and the default port for RDP is 88 3389. Let's create. I'm going with the default network and monitoring advanced tags and all. I'll create it later. Validation failed. Okay, it's saying already available. Let me create with another. Create Windows AD demo. So we have to change the region also so that we will get that 4 GB in this region. It is not available. The 4 CPU and 4 GB RAM. So let me change that South Central. US South Central and the image server, and we just need to select recommended 4 CPU and 30 GB, 32 GB RAM. And username you should give Azure user and the password you have to give. The password contain at least one uppercase and lowercase and a special character also. So according to that you have to set the password. I have set my password as well. Just create. Create. So default RDP port is 3389. So for your IP it should able to reach in your network settings. So you have to open the port 3389 with your IP. So in your machine the RDP should be available. From your laptop you should able to connect to the Windows server which we created on Azure. So for that one we will use RDP remote desktop service. So this it will take few minutes to complete to create Windows Server. I'm passing the video until it's completed. Now it is completed anyway. Now go to VM and this is my server and take the public IP. Before that you just need to able to open the port 3389. Uh, for source is any. So instead of any, I'm making IP address. IP address, you just need to provide your public IP. This is my public IP. So 3389 save. Now go to overview, take the public IP and connect. It will ask the username and password. So you just need to provide username and password. So while launching, you have provided username and password. That username password you have to provide here. So we able to connected the Windows server which we created and we have to open server manager by so it is by default in the local server it has that computer name. If you want you can change the computer name also. And work group currently we don't configure any domain, that is the reason it's showing work group. Okay, so if you once you have configured that domain you should able to see that your domain. So for this to configure DNS you have to manage tools, add roles and features. So select next and role based and feature based installation and you have to select the server from the server pool. This is my server and you have to select here active domain service, add feature and you have to enable DNS also, DNS server, add feature, continue, say next, next. So Azure Active Directory and restart the destination server automatically if it is required. You have to select and install. So this it will take some time to install So I'm pausing the video until it should be installed. See, this installation is completed and you have to close this. Okay. Once you have installed that one, you should see this yellow mark notification. So here you just need to do promote the server to domain controller. So you have to select add a new forest. So I'm giving my domain name, root domain name is example.com. If you have any custom domain, you can use that domain also. So click next, and by default the forecast functional level Windows Server 2016 domain functional level 2016, and you have to use your password. So this password you have to remember. Click next, and click next also, specify domain objects, and NetBIOS name it's automatically will pick. So its NetBIOS domain is example based on the domain which you provided. It will remove the .com and it will display the name, and by default the ADDS database log files is volume folders, it should be available in the default location Windows NTDS, NTDS and sys files. Just review next. So it's saying install. So once this installation is completed, it will restart your virtual machine. So again you have to connect. So it is completed. Now close. Just open again. Now it is able to connect it. So once it is done, you just need to check local service. So this time it is showing the domain example.com. Okay, like this you have to configure the domain. Okay, if you want to check tools, Active Directory, users and groups. So if you go to AD, so it will show you the AD details. Okay, Active Directory domain service. This is the domain service. So if you want to add users and groups, you have to select this one. So by default it will have this domain, where by default it will come some users and domain controllers. Okay, built in it will come. So here you just need to create OU. So to create OU, just right click new. So you can give any name, OU name. So I'm giving groups. Groups is my OU. So I created groups. Under here I'm going to create a users. So first under groups I'll create two groups, and then I'll create few users and I'll try to add the users to the group. So let me create group. To create a group, you just need to right click on the OU and select new, and you have to select group. So the group name you have to provide any name. So I'm giving dev group, and one more I'm giving test group. So select OU and select group name. I'm giving test group. So by default, the scope global and group type security. So these two groups I have created like this. You can create groups under subgroups also you can create. So now under users, I'm going to create few users like, so select user, select new, and you have to select option user. So first name you can give any name. I'm giving dev1, last name user1. This is the full name, by default it will come, and the username you can give dev user1. This is my dev user1. So next, and you have to provide the password for this user. When you log into the user, if you want to change his password instead of default password, you can select this one. Otherwise, your user can't change the password. You have to select, and password never expire this one, and the account is disabled. If you want to disable account, you have to select this one. So currently, I didn't select anything. If you want, you can select this password never expires. So user should be able to use the same password. So click finished. User dev1 user is created. Now similar way, let me create one more user. New user dev2 user2, and user login name is dev user2, and password you have to select. So if you didn't select anything, by default it should be, it will never expire. Finish. Now these two users we should be able to add to the groups for the dev group. So right click. So here option is there, dev group. So you have to select advanced, find now. So here you should be able to select the group name. See, this is my group name, dev group. So click OK. There is another way to add members to the group also. So if you select this group, dev group, if you select members, currently it is showing one user. So if you want add to the members, so same, select the group name, members. If you want to add members, you can add members. So two ways we can do. So we wanted to add dev to user. Select, apply, okay. If you check dev group, there are two members. One is dev1 and dev2 user. Okay, similar way, let me create two users under test group. So test users, I should need to create test1 user 1. So test user 1, finish. Let me create one more user, test2 user 2, test user 2, finish. Now we should able to see this is the type user. So you have to add these users to the group. So I'm going to add users to the group. Select the user, add group. You can find the group name, find now. So select test group. See here my group is available. Click OK. Added successfully. You can do same as well. Add group. Find now. So test group. Click OK. OK. So if you want to change user name, user password, so whatever you have given default, you can select this option. And if you want to add to the group or disable account, you have to select this option. Or if you wanted to add more information about the user, you have to select double click on the user, so it will display. So you can provide that mail ID test user 2 at gmail.com. So whatever mail you have configured, you have to provide that and updated that. If you wanted to address updated, just click this one and account details, profile, telephone number. So if you want anything to update, just double click on the user. It should be able to see. Now once it is done, you have to check whether these users created or groups created using command line also. Okay, so PowerShell. In the PowerShell, to check the list of users, the command is dsquery user hyphen limit 0. We provide. So see, it is by default these are the users. Okay, Azure user is created by default and a guest and arbitrary and dev1 user, dev2 user, test1, test2. These are the users. Means these users are created. This we have created. Okay. Now, similar way, if you wanted to check the list of get the group, so see these are the default groups which Microsoft is created. Also, our groups also we can able to see DS dev group and test group. Okay, these are the groups which is created. Now, if you want to check inside the group what are the members, okay, so for that one to get the user in specific group, you have to provide like this dsget group. This is one way. See, inside dev1 group, dev group, we have two users, dev1 and dev2. Similar way, this is alternative command to get the members in the side group. See, the same command, this command also it works for same. Now, if you want to get the specific information about the user, so if you select this dsquery user f1 sam id, so you have to get that user information, dev1 user information. Okay, like this we can able to get the user information, list of groups, list of users, who is part of that group, the members. So like this we can create Windows Active Directory service, and we have able to configure domain, and we are able to create the users and groups. So that's all about in this session. If you like the video, please share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.